We're getting ready to buy your next home, going through the mortgage process. One of the big questions that probably will come up along the way is, what are closing costs going to be and what all is included in that number? So we're going to try to break that down for you a little bit today, give you a little more clarity on what that number consists of and what all is included in your closing costs next time you head to the closing table. Welcome in to the Smart Mortgage Show YouTube channel. I'm Ben George. He's Bill Litton, Regional President at Cross Country Mortgage. We're glad you're here. Please hit subscribe on the show. We got a lot of videos covering all types of mortgage lending topics, education, reaction to market updates, and everything else that we can kind of cover. We do here on the channel, so we appreciate your support. Bill, today I want to kind of get into closing costs a little bit with you because this is a big part of the process for people, right? They know I got to put a down payment down. I've got to have money for closing costs. Those are the two big, I think, line items for most people when they go into the mortgage process. So let's break it down a little bit and kind of give people a better idea of what to expect and what all is included in closing costs and how you come up with that final number.
Yeah, this is a really super important part of the mortgage world, and I think that it is often not given enough credence and often not done well. And what I mean by that is, so whatever the closing costs are, the most important thing to the consumer is that they are given accurate numbers. So one of the things that we're really focused on here with the Litton team and Cross Country Mortgage is accuracy. We've got to be accurate with those numbers. And so I've seen many times, hey, can you send me this sounds way off from the other lender. Can you send me the closing cost? And I look and they're not local and they didn't include transfer tax, or they don't understand how the taxes work and when they're due in the county that the buyer is buying in, and the tax estimates are way off. There could be any number of reasons. So number one is work with a lender that's known to give really accurate closing cost figures, and work with a lender that's willing to show you the closing costs. A lot of times they don't show them to you. They don't provide them to you. And work with a lender that's willing to explain them to you, to set up a consultative meeting to go over them with you in detail so you know what you're paying. So I think first and foremost, we've got to start there. Is they got to be accurate. They have to be conspicuously provided to you, and they need to be explained. So from there, what I would say is really important, Ben, is, there's two components. There's the true closing costs, and then there's also the prepaids, and they're separate, and they're all under the umbrella of what we would call settlement charges. But people usually and it's very common, is like, what are the closing costs? So technically there's settlement charges is the main umbrella, and under that are closing costs and prepaid items.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is some of the more specific things? I mean, just kind of generally speaking, I'm sure there are, different mortgages will have different items in there, generally speaking, but what are some of the things that are going to be included in those closing costs? And let's just go ahead and lump it into settlement, because I think that's what people are truly asking, right? When they ask about closing costs, is what's that final number, right? I'm not asking you to break it out for me. I just want to know, what am I actually going to be paying here when I sit down at the table, and what kind of check am I writing to you? So kind of what are all the main things that are going to be covered in that?
Yes. So if we look at the closing cost piece, so basically you're going to have lender fees. Usually there's a processing fee, an underwriting fee, an administrative fee. Some, the names are a little bit interchangeable, but there's usually one or two lender fees. Then there are appraisal fees. So the appraiser to go out to the house is going to charge a fee to do that. In addition, credit report is usually charged as one of your closing costs. Title insurance. Now, title insurance is usually the largest fee, and it's to make sure that the title to the property is free and clear of any liens from previous owners. Very important, money well spent. In addition, you have transfer taxes. So transfer tax would be, in Pennsylvania, the buyer pays 1% of the purchase price as transfer tax. That's traditional, and it can be different if a different agreement is struck up between the buyer and the seller. And then you have recording fees to record the new mortgage at the courthouse. If you buy down the rate, you could pay a mortgage discount fee to obtain a lower interest rate. You also might have the real estate company typically would charge the buy side a fee. Usually it's an admin fee. So all of those items would make up your general closing costs.
Well, one other kind of follow-up question then, based on what you've said, because there are the estimates, right? So you give out an estimate earlier in the process. At what point does the estimate become the final number? Because I'm guessing you're going to be pretty close on your estimate, but you're not actually going to have that final number buttoned up until a certain point. So when can someone expect to know exactly what the closing costs will be?
Ben, this question is a question for the ages, let me tell you. And here's why.
It makes sense because I've worked with, I think, three different home purchases, and I think every experience was different.
Yeah, and so here, the truth of the matter is the exact number is not going to be the number till you're sitting at the settlement table.
Okay.
And here's why. I get a lot of folks that are saying 3-4 days ahead of settlement, I need the exact number. Well, on the way to settlement, there was a tax cert that yet had not come in yet. Or maybe an estimated number was used for a sewer bill that now we know exactly what it is, or a water bill. So what we do is from day one, we're going to give you an estimate that's probably within $1,000 of what you need at the settlement table. And we're going to give you that overestimated padded number from day one. We're going to use that all the way through. We're probably even going to say the day before settlement, go get a check from your bank. You need a cashier's check, or send the wire in this amount that has the extra $1,000 in it. Because when we get to the table, we're going to show you where every dollar goes. We're going to make sure all the accounting is perfect. But that actual final number, if we get lucky, sometimes it's 3 days before settlement. But I've had loans that were cleared to close 2 weeks ahead of settlement. We thought we had the final number 2 weeks ahead, and on the day of settlement, it's like, oh, this changed by $50. So technically, not until you're at the table, but that's why you need somebody who knows the numbers and can be very accurate from day one with giving you a really tight estimate.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, it makes me feel a little bit better about some of my experiences. I think the one time, I think I told you this, Bill, before on the show, was one where literally I was asking them, I think we were closing at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was asking at like 9:30, how much do I need to bring today? Like, what's going on here? Why do I not have that number yet? But I guess it's not completely out of the ordinary.
It's not. And I think what's important is set the right expectation from day one. We say, this is your number that we're going to focus on all the way up until you get to the table.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a change where there was a seller credit added or a renegotiation of the price or something, that could certainly make that a initial estimate. We need to adjust for that. But we would still go off in the initial numbers in that case and add those adjustments.
Very good. Well, definitely feel like I understand closing costs and settlement charges a little bit more. If you have anything to follow up with, if you have any questions for Bill, we'd love to hear from you. You can always get in touch with him by calling 484-352-4151 for Cross Country Mortgage, or just log on smartmortgageshow.com. You can learn more about everything Bill does. Plenty of educational material there, video and podcast on the website, and also the opportunity to get in touch with Bill right there through smartmortgageshow.com. And please, as always, hit subscribe if you've enjoyed this content. We appreciate your support. That helps us continue to grow the channel. And Bill, we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben.
This program is for informational purposes only. Please consult a qualified professional before taking any action. Bill Litton is a loan advisor and regional president with Cross Country Mortgage, NMLS number 147060.